Hello, and welcome to Color Commentary. I'm TJ, your average fan, and I'll be talking to you today about Star Trek's Strange New Worlds, Episode 10, The Quality of Mercy. Let's just talk about it. Spoilers! Woo! Man, oh man, oh man, this was a good season finale. I loved every single bit of it. I did. I really, really did. We got, once again, them going to resupply a station. They do that a lot, apparently. Early in Federation history, they had supply chain issues, clearly. And this station is located in the neutral zone, right along the border of Romulan and Federation space. It's headed by a Commander Al-Salam, whose son, Ma'at, is one of the cadets that Pike ends up saving in the future and when he gets hurt. And so when he hears the name and meets the boy, that kind of triggers some PTSD in him. And he decides that, he gonna try to write a letter to the little boy, to try to save his life, change his fate. And that's when a future him shows up with the Klingon crystal, time crystals, and lets him know, hey, that might not be such a great idea. And, you take a look and see for yourself. So he touched the crystal, sent him into the future, 7 years into the future. Let me tell you something. First of all, future Pike and past Pike, Anson Mount himself is such a freaking good actor. Oh my God. And to think he was just in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness as Black Bolt, and we didn't even get to see him that great. You know what I'm saying? But still, here, oh, he shines. Shines like a diamond, baby. And I love every bit of it. So, it's a whole thing going on. The station now is getting destroyed because they're getting the distress call. So they go back. It's the same damn space station. Commander Al-Salam is under attack. They don't know who did it. They're trying to figure it out. Why have I not known that Ortega's name was Erica this entire time? Until now, they said Erica so many times this episode, I got sick of them saying it. I'm like, y'all have never said her name this many times to the point that I now know her name is Erica. Okay? Didn't help, though, because Ortega still pissed me off every single thing she had to say out her mouth this episode. I really dislike Ortega. I really do. I get it, but she's not a security officer. That's not your job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. She gets on my nerves. I really don't care for Ortega. And to the point that he had to yell at her to shut the hell up. This ain't your show. Stay in your place, young lady. Okay. Now that I got that out of my system. Woo! Oh, and the other crazy thing, of course, we don't see Una until the end of the episode, when the captain is back in his regular timeline and he's walking the bridge and glad to see everybody from everything that he experienced. And then, of course, she gets took away at the end. But that's the setup for season 2, and I will get to that in a second. But first off, let's talk about this whole thing. Why nobody told me that Kirk was James Kirk's brother? All this time, every episode I've been reviewing, and I've been saying the same thing about how I dislike how they treat and how they characterize his damn father, and it's his damn brother. You guys could have told me. I feel like such a dunce. Oh my God. It also explains how he acts a little better. I can be a bit more accepting of his personality, knowing that that's his brother and not his father. Okay. So, regardless of that, we introduced the Farragut and Kirk, played by one of my favorite vampires from Vampire Diaries. Don't know how I feel about him being Kirk, though. He didn't really give me. They kept trying to push that he's a risk taker, but he didn't really give me that risk taker energy. Yet he did do some risk taking stuff, like when he went and got the drones to help back them up to try to fool the Romulans, which they had never seen before. And when they did, oh my God, you know, Ortega's really pissed me off because now you finna turn on Spock because they look similar. You know, she just, everything out of her mouth just pissed me off. So, they finally see what the Romulans look like. Pike talked to this captain, and this captain is like war weary. He like, I'm so over fighting, I don't know what to do. If this is a chance for us to make peace, then we could do it. But they did destroy several deep space stations. So, you know, I kind of feel where Ortega was coming from. Like, they need to pay for that. We just watched them literally destroy one in front of our eyes. We got to do something, you know. The whole point of him getting sent to this future was to see that if he changed the fates, he stayed on the ship, he was still the captain of the Enterprise, how things would change, how things might be different in the future, and it's not great. It's not great. A whole Romulan and Federation war by the end of this have gotten started. You talking about excellent space battles when the original, first of all, they didn't understand about the cloaking technology, which was hilarious. When soon as it uncloaked, I say, oh, Romulans, hell if she was right. But, Ortega's that is. But yeah, Romulans, oh right. We know they don't play no games. I'm like, it's a Romulan bird of prey. Them and the Klingons, only ones got cloaking technology at this point that they are aware of. Whew, baby, when I tell you, that fight they had with them back and forth, it was awesome. I agree with Pike when him and Kirk got into it after he had to save him and transport all his people to the Enterprise. That, you know what I'm saying, yeah, you might have went a shot first, but yeah, your ship's destroyed and mine's still here, so get into that one. You know, and Kirk had to take, I can say it was fair point. You got a point there, but yeah. So, in this future, Una is locked up, we find out. She in prison. Soong is serving on the Farragut with Kirk. Lieutenant Uhura is at her comm stations. You know, I'm like, oh wow, okay, and Spock is first officer. He's number one. I'm like, this is insanity. But I loved it. Everybody's in their place, and that fight was awesome. They disabled each other. You know, weapons down, engines and weapons down over there. So this is all after the whole trailing them through the comet trail to try to see where they was going and follow them back, and they got tricked, and then the Romulans was behind them. That's how that whole fight broke out, and then they took out the Farragut. So we at this point now where everybody's on one ship. Pike trying to negotiate with the Romulan captain. And it looked like things was going well until his first officer, his sub-commander, then called in the Romulan fleet. So now the Romulan fleet and the Praetor have showed up, and she like, yeah, y'all some weak bastards. We taking y'all out. That's when Kirk had already asked for a favor from Pike, and he was like, you know, we need some reinforcements, but I got a plan. Maybe we could do something. So he asked for a shuttle. He took off, came back with all these unmanned drone excavator ships. And mining ships. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. You know, he showed up, they flanked him, everybody like at a standstill on the neutral zone, trying to avoid war. Well, the Praetor is not trying to avoid war. She ready to go, you know. And then they decided, because they got proof, Enterprise does, that they were the ones who were the initial aggressors, they Romulan captain got to go. So they sacrificed themselves and got blew up. That was crazy. I'm like, oh, wow. This dude he just wanted peace. He been fighting and fighting and fighting. Eventually, people get tired of that. They want peace. They don't want to fight. Even if they initially was all gung-ho about the fight. You know, they start to see the cost and how it affects everything around them and their own mental state. And it's just not great. And they start to want better for those that's behind them, those coming up behind them, the young ones, the kids. We got to stop this. We got to stop fighting. That's all that captain wanted. Sounds very real worldish, doesn't it? I know. Anyway, that captain's gone. The Praetor had lost. She's like, I'm over it. We taking y'all out. And Kirk used the drone ships to block their escape. So they finally get to warp and get away. But in that ensuing chaos, because Spock was busy trying to repair the phasers, because he wanted to do those personally, he done got radiation burns on 40% of his body, lost a leg, got spine problems, and yeah, he might not even survive all of the damage to him. I really can't stand M'Benga. He's another character. By the end of this whole season, I still ain't grew to like him. When they was having a little meeting about what to do about the Romulan ship, because they had 2 hours in the initial, we're going to wait and see if we're going to repair each other's stuff. The way his aggressive nature and how he says stuff, I don't think is very respectful. I don't like it. And then later on, when Spock was hurt and Pike came to the medical bay to see what was going on, the look on his face didn't seem like he was busy. He was just walking around. I'm like, you the main doctor. You should have a tricorder in your hand. You should be injecting something in somebody. You should be saying something. You're just standing around. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I don't like him. Sorry, I don't like M'Benga. And I don't like Ortegas. Erica. Them two characters I don't particularly care for. In the meantime, in between time, while Spock was down there fixing the lasers, he's talking to the head engineer because, of course, Hammer's gone, so they got a new engineer at this point. And who's the voice that they let you hear? Oh, it's a Scottish one, because it's Scotty. I was like, yay, Scotty's on the ship. So everybody's in place on the Enterprise, except for Kirk's not the captain. Because Pike changed this alternate future, and so Pike is still captain of the Enterprise. Oh my God. I'm like, this is insane. Everybody's there but Kirk, So he hurt. The future Pike tells him, Spock is important to the universe and to the timeline. He got a lot of universe changing and saving things to do in the future. And in all of the different timelines that I witnessed and trying to change the different fates of myself as well as these young cadets, it doesn't work out for Spock. In some way, somehow, he just always doesn't make it. And I'm like, that's jacked up because, we know Spock is very important to Trek history and lore and the future of them, of this, the whole, everything, all the things that Spock has done. I mean, even up through to Discovery when the future Spock came back to the past Spock and helped them do this. I mean, Spock is very important. I also was annoyed that they didn't show Nurse Chapel till that moment when they showed how jacked up Spock was. I don't know where that came from. Spock was, and then she, here we go with this. Because you're going to be the saddest one about what happened to him, of course. That I could have dealt without too. They need to do better with her and her relationship with Spock. I'm serious. Season 2, do better. Whew, but this episode, oh my God, the fighting, the negotiations, the back and forth, the tenseness. You can feel the tenseness in these scenes. I loved it. It was so good. It was so good. I feel sad that Una, by the end of this all, got took by his chief security officer friend that he in love with from somewhere else. I forget. She was in the first episode too that convinced him that he needed to get back on the horse and go do his job. Now I think they're going to be at odds because who told the Federation about Una? Who told them she was an Illyrian? Who told them? That's the first order of business of season 2. Find out where this information came from. And clearly they're going to get Una back because she's in the original Star Trek series. You know what I'm saying? As the first officer of the Enterprise with Kirk. So they're going to get her back. But clearly while he was still captain of the Enterprise in the future, she was still locked up. And that's messed up. So I don't know what they're going to do in season 2 to convince either Starfleet or Snatch. I don't know. They're going to have to convince Starfleet to let her go. Because she's clearly working freely on the Enterprise later on. It was a lot. It was a lot. All the little hints of the original Star Trek music they kept throwing in there, especially when Kirk came on the ship and was talking to his brother. That was cool. I was like, this is awesome. This show, man, overall, 10 episodes. What I consider one really bad episode, but it was watchable. This was excellent. Picard didn't make me feel like this. And if I'm being honest, the show I liked better, which was Discovery, didn't make me feel like this. I loved the feel and the look of this show. I love Discovery. Don't get me wrong. That is one of my favorite Star Trek shows. I know a lot of Trekkers don't really care for that show, but I do. I like Discovery. It's pushing the lore and everything forward. You can't think about old ways of doing stuff when you go into the future. And that might have threw people off at first because they started in the old way, even though it didn't have the old look, But they moved to the future. So that's a done deal on that. They are where they need to be, and I love Discovery for it. I love it. But this, oh my God, this is original Trek. Yeah, I love it. I love the colors. I love the brightness. I love the sounds. I love the music. I love the acting. Everybody's acting is so good. Even the people I don't like. I don't like Ortegas, but she's doing a job. I don't like Mbega, but he's doing his job. I can't say they did bad acting. I just don't like their characters. Their character portrayals in this show. Woo, Lord have mercy. This was such a good episode. Pike finally figured out that, he gotta just let sleeping dogs lie, as they say, Let bygones be bygones and let it happen what's gonna happen. He came back to his past after he touched the crystals again. And he deleted the little letter he was gonna write to Ma'at al-Salam. And we're gonna just let whatever's gonna happen. It's at that point that he went back to the bridge, seeing everybody, was happy to see everybody, and then they got the call from the other person to meet them at the transporter, and they took Una. And that's how the episode went off. So I am very excited to see what's gonna happen in the second season of this show. That was Star Trek Strange New Worlds, y'all. That's good stuff. That's really good stuff. Pike is so good. Ensign Mount is so good. All of the actors are so good. They're so good. Whew. I would have to give this series, if I had to give it a rating, it would be a 9. Probably because of that one episode I didn't really care for, with the storybook and Mbanga and Ortega's pissing me off the entire time. That episode, they put them together and they had nothing to do but work my last freaking nerves. Would have been a 10. But I give it a 9. 8.5. 9, yeah, I'll go with that. Because I enjoyed this a lot. And I would recommend this for anybody who enjoys spacefaring adventure series, who enjoy Trek in itself, who enjoy just seeing people enjoy their jobs and do things in a way that maybe you might not have agreed with, but it makes sense all in the end. This was Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I'm glad to have taken this journey with you guys, OnlyFanners. And I will see you another time for another series. Hope you've enjoyed these reviews. I know I have. And all of the conversations I've had about them. They've been hilarious, and I love it. I love seeing different points of view. It also helps to expand the human mind. We all need to do that a bit more often. Have conversations. I'm just saying, y'all. Have a great day. Enjoy your stay.